I found this desk at the thrift store and I decided that I wanted to take it home and give it an updated makeover. While I was at the thrift store, I overheard her mother and her daughter talking about whether they should buy this or not, and the daughter didn't want it because she said it was old and ugly. I don't really agree with that, but I will say this desk is pretty small, so I was thinking about marketing it more towards a teenager, so I do think giving it a chic, updated look might be my best bet to get it sold. I start my makeover by taking out all the drawers and the hardware, and then I mark the bottoms of the drawers just so I don't get them mixed up. The next thing I want to do is strip the top. There's a super thick coat of lacquer on the top and I like to restain it. So I just put my citrus strip on with my chip brush and then I cover it in plastic and I let it sit for anywhere from about 45 minutes to an hour. While I'm waiting for the top, I decided to use my Dixie Belle's White Lightning cleaner, which has some TSP in it, so I always wear my gloves, and I clean down the base of the piece. When the top is ready, I use my putty knife and I scrape off all that finish and the citrus strip. And I love how it comes off so nice and easy now. Once I'm done with that, I use my denatured alcohol and I just wipe the piece down. I like to use the denatured alcohol when I'm indoors way more than like mineral spirits or the wash because of the fumes aren't as bad. Then I take it outside and I sand it starting at 150 grit. Because we took so much off with the citrus strip, I can start pretty high. And then I had a little help from my husband, Joe. He is using a 180 grit. So after I went in with the 150, he's using the 180. The 150 grit did a great job, but the 180 now is just gonna make sure that we have an even finish, that most of the brown is gone. And then I use my Black & Decker mouse sander for the edge. If you use your orbital sander, a lot of the times, you can use your orbital sander, but a lot of the times it makes the sanding pad just kind of flip off because orbital sanders work a lot better on a flat surface. So I like this one, my mouse sander, for any kind of curved edges. Then I cleaned it up one more time with my Dixie Belle's White Lightning cleaner because I still saw a little bit of grime in all the corners. Then I rinse the piece with some water and a wet rag just to make sure that there's no cleaner residue left on it. Because if there is, then my paint's not going to adhere properly. I'm painting the base with Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint by Dixie Belle in the color Badlands. This is one of the new releases. It came out maybe a month ago. I think it's gonna be really gorgeous. It's sort of like a grayish brown color. It's really, really pretty. But before I do that, I need to scuff sand the piece. So I take my 220 grit sanding pad and I just go over the entire piece like this. And I like these pads because you can flip it over and use the other side to clean your area. I remember that I also need to fill in the imperfections that are on the drawer front. So I'm using Dixie Belle's Mud in black for this. While I wait for the Dixie Belle Mud to dry on each of the drawers, I end up painting the base. Because this is an all-in-one mineral paint, that means that I don't have to prime the piece. The primer is built in to the paint, and so is the top coat. So I'm gonna paint the entire base of this desk in the color Badlands. I also use my brush to get into any of the corners, and I use my roller for the large flat sections. If you enjoy makeovers like this and you're not subscribed already, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. And when the Dixie Belle mud is dry, I come back and I use my sanding pad to sand it flush. Now I want to show you how it self-levels. I've done one coat of the Dixie Belle Silk in the color Badlands on the entire piece. I waited about 3 hours here, and this is how it self-leveled the first coat. It's just really nice and smooth. There are no orange peel marks from the roller. Now I'm applying my second coat on the entire piece, and this gives me full coverage. Now the only sanding I'm doing on this piece is after my 2 coats are on. I'm using a 600 grit sanding disc, and I'm just lightly going over it because I want to get rid of the grit, and I want to make sure that there's no hair in my paint or dust or anything. But I'm not sanding really hard. I'm using such a light hand when I do this. The silk dries with a matte finish, so it's a little rough. If you just give it a super light sanding, then it softens it up so much. It makes a huge difference. For the top, I'm using VooDoo Gel Stain in Tobacco Road. This is the star of the show. I shook the bottle really, really well, and then I applied it this way, or you can apply it to your rag and then just kind of wipe your piece down. But I applied 2 coats in total. I waited about an hour and a half in between coats, and it comes out so beautiful. It's almost like a wash, and instead of it being a wash and worrying about like tannins and stuff, it actually penetrates the wood. Once my second coat dries, I come back and I apply 2 coats of the Dixie Belle Clear Coat in Satin. And I'm using my sprayer for this because I just find that spraying the clear coat, I don't get any streaks, and it's just really simple. Once I apply the clear coat, that's when the magic happens, and it just makes the surface so smooth and buttery, and it almost glows. It's really, well, it looks like satin. It's really pretty. And I decided to keep the original hardware, so I just put them in my sink and I give them a little rinse. Then I use Barkeeper's Friend. I just sprinkle it on there, and I sprinkle enough to cover the entire thing, and then I wait about an hour, and halfway in between that I use some of that the Barkeeper's Friend that's sprinkled on the sink. I use that and kind of make a paste, and I go over it. I still have some of that like patina on there, so I will be adding some gold gilding wax. Here's a reminder of what we started with, and here it is today. I painted this piece with a teenage girl in mind. I feel like it's somewhere between modern and elegant. look at that top. That satin clear coat really brought it to life. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like this video, I'd love it if you hit that like button and let me know, and I'll see you next time.